Hey, this is Knife Standards. Today I'm going to be doing my full review of the Demko knives 80-20.5. And of course, this is the shark's foot blade shape and the fully blacked out version. But first, please follow me at Knife Standards. You can follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for a lot more knife content and weekly knife reviews. Okay, cool. So let's get this out of the way. And just a heads up, this is going to be a fairly short review, almost like an overview. I've already done my 80-20.5 review, and that was the drop point, just the first version that came out, the gray FRN, the stonewash drop point. So I feel like I covered a lot of what the knife is about, but I got this in hand. DLC coated blade, the shark's foot blade shape, and of course the black FRN. So I wanted to do another video, and I did do an unboxing first impressions of this, which I thought were great. I like this more than the drop point. I like this color scheme better. I like the coated blade better. So overall, I'm enjoying this a lot more than the drop point. So I'm not going to make this a crazy long review or anything, but I do want to go over a few things that are different and a few things that I've been enjoying about this knife and about carrying and using it. First, well, let's go ahead and talk about what's the same. We have AUS 10A blade steel made in Taiwan, just like the drop points. We have the Shark's Lock, which is same on all of the 20.5s. I think it's literally the same handle, which is one of my downsides just because of how the blade sits in the handle. It's a little bit short, but I get it. They use the same handle. They save money that way. It's not a huge deal. Of course, you have the thumb stud and the hole on every version of the 20.5. And what else is the same? Same clip, although this one is coated, also DLC coated. They did not coat the Shark Lock, and I think that is for functionality. I feel like that might, I don't know this for sure, but I feel like that might gunk it up and make it less usable, maybe gritty, make the action less smooth. That's my guess, because why else wouldn't they coat everything, coat the liners and coat the Shark Lock? I feel like that is probably why they didn't do that, but that's just my best guess. As far as action goes, the action on this guy for deployment, thumb stud deployment, is great. Snappy, crispy, easy. For the middle finger flick, it's just a little bit sluggish, and I feel like this will loosen up. I said that in my unboxing too, and it hasn't loosened up since then. But it's just, I'm really giving it a serious flick. And it's just kind of hesitating, struggling to get there. Not the end of the world. You can always just pull the Shark Lock and flick it out. That's also very doable. Most of the time when I deploy this knife, I use the thumb studs anyway, so not a huge deal. The action on the close, of course, guillotine. That's one of the pluses about the Shark Lock. No, I didn't need to do any adjustments yet. I was thinking of loosening the pivot just a tiny bit, but so far have not needed to do so. Haven't needed to do any bearing swaps or anything. The action on this guy is just a little bit smoother as far as the closing action goes, a little bit smoother than the first version, than the drop point, the gray stonewash drop point that I had. Ergos, pretty good, of course, very similar to the other version. I don't like the feel of the FRN. I think that's, that's kind of unanimous. I think most people don't like the feel of FRN. They would prefer carbon fiber or even a really, smooth, nice G10. But the cool thing about the 20.5, of course, is they have a ton of aftermarket scales. There are some really cool guys on Instagram that make, they machine the scales. I'm not sure. I guess they do, you know, Carbodize is one of them. I've seen his work. And of course, I think it's OG Goat or the Goat or something. He's doing titanium scales for the 20.5. So that is a huge plus. I was thinking of going carbon fiber, but the carbon fiber scales that I that I want are as expensive as this knife. This knife goes for, I think, $150, $160, and that is the price of the scales, which I just can't do it. Right now I just can't do it. To pay the same amount for the scales that I paid for the knife, I don't know. Someone convince me. As much as I would like some epic carbon fiber, maybe some fat carbon on here, I just can't see myself dropping $150 for the scales. I don't even know if that includes the backspacer. I'm just not sure. Anyway, one of the reasons why I like this more, normally I'm a drop point guy, drop points all the way. And for this knife, this has just been super functional and useful and easy to open boxes, to cut cardboard, to cut tape with. This kind of sheep's foot, or as they call it, the shark's foot blade shape. It's just a nice change. I don't have a lot of sheep's foot blade shapes. And of course, I still am, diehard drop point fan. But to have one of these in my collection, I feel like it's just really useful. This is just really, really nice for any kind of, detailed cutting or just tearing down cardboard, opening Amazon packages, whatever you have to do for it. Really kind of just a functional blade shape. So I've gotten a lot more use out of the shark's foot blade shape than I ever did from the drop point. Let's go ahead and do a size comparison real quick. Let's keep it all black handles. I'm gonna get the Ska, and then I will also get the Southern Grind Spider Monkey. All very similarly sized. Let's see where the Southern Grind, man, is that a chip in this edge is rolled up. That figures. Okay, anyway, about 3 1/4 on the blade, 7 1/2 overall on the Southern Grind. Let's check. Yeah, about 3 inches, just about 3 inches on the Demko, 7 1/2 overall. And then the Ska, we got about 3 1/4, and about 7 1/2 overall. I would consider all of these medium-sized knives. They're not going to, they're going to be a little bit bigger than the Quiet Carry Drift, which is that kind of standard 3-inch everyday carry size. But yeah, I really like this length, this kind of medium category. I'm gonna get the Southern Grind out of the way, and I'll get the Ska out of the way as well. So medium sized, ergos feel good. Would they feel better without the FRN? For sure. A couple little details on this knife that, let's go ahead and let's keep it with the upsides. Let's talk a few more upsides. One upside is I had been critical of all these screws and all, boom, boom, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because the hardware is blacked out, it just doesn't bother me as much. So I think it totally blends in. Does not bother me one bit. I think that's very cool. And I would prefer to see every 20.5 with this blacked out hardware. One thing that's super annoying to me is the tooling. Look, you see this side of the pivot, no tooling marks. This side has the Torx tooling mark. I don't get that. I don't want to look at that. Why? Why is it there? Why can't they have this be there? I don't know. I just feel like a little detail that could make a big difference aesthetically for me, personally, what I like to look at. Another little downside, which not much you can do about it, but for some reason on this guy, it didn't bother me on the clip point, drop point, but it pinches my damn finger every once in a while. And I kind of have to adjust my hand to get my hand out of the way of the shark lock. So that's kind of annoying. Not a huge, it just kind of boom, snaps my finger up sometimes. So I kind of have to get it underneath, and I still feel it. So that's, again, not a huge deal, but it's been bugging me lately. When I've carried this knife, it's been pinching me just a tiny bit. I'm sure a lot of you are like, yeah, whatever, bro, whatever, knife standards, you know, that's not a big deal. I know it's not a big deal, but getting pinched every time I deploy the knife, it's kind of a bummer. Not a huge deal. Of course, if they could black this out too, that would be great, but I understand at least my theory as to why they did not. What else? What else? Oh, I mean, for me, the clip is just... all right, I'll start with a nice detail. Nice detail is the Ad20.5, like the symbol is underneath the tip of the clip. So you're not getting your pants shredded with the FRN, which is cool. But the clip, this is kind of the Demko standard clip. I just don't like it. I don't need it to be a deep carry clip, but this kind of swoop has super tight retention. It's not comfortable to get in and out of pocket. Once it's in pocket, it's not going anywhere, but getting it in and out is not my favorite. One thing to talk about with this knife and the Demko, the next line of the Demkos, the Ad20s, I guess it's the Slim, and I didn't know a lot about them. Since then, a few of you have left comments explaining more about the Slim, and then I saw a drop of them, and I was like, oh, maybe I should pick one of those up. I think it's more of a full-sized, closer to the Ad20. And man, $375, $425, $475, $575, crazy prices. And from what I read, from what I can understand, they're not made in the US. So you're paying for what exactly? I mean, one of them was titanium, so I get it a little bit, but why? I don't, if it was the Ad20 and it was made in, I don't know where is Demko? Where are they? I'm not sure, but it's definitely in the US. If it was made in their shop, I get it. You're paying $475 or $375 or $600 or whatever it is for a knife that's made in the US, whether it's hand ground or machine ground or whatever. I'm assuming the Demkos are assembling those in their shop, but to have it, to have that same price tag, that $500 plus price tag, and have it be almost the same exact knife, I just, and there was something on the info, like, I forget what it was, some like fitted in the US, or I forget what they said, but something in the US, obviously not made in the US. And again, I'm not a stickler for US made versus Chinese made. 9 out of 10 of my favorite knives are Chinese made. I love stuff that is from China. But when you have that crazy of a price tag on it, and you're selling it for as much as your American made stuff, to me it's like, why? I don't know why would I want to pay that? For me, for this, $150, yeah, okay, cool. Not a huge deal. I get it, it's AUS 10A, FRN. Yes, this could be a $100 knife. Yes, this could be a $75 knife. But if you want to experience the Shark Lock, get one of these in your collection. Totally understand. It's a solid knife. I really enjoy this knife. But if you're gonna go $300 plus, why wouldn't you get this in Van X, titanium and Van X for $300? I don't get it. Maybe someone can explain to me why you would get the Ad20 Slim for $425. Doesn't make sense to me. I'm kind of rambling on and on. That's okay. Moving on now. I think overall, just kind of my summary, I enjoy this more than the clip point. I probably at some point will end up getting different scales. For now, it's not a huge deal, not a deal breaker for me. Yes, the Shark Lock is great, super fidgety, fun. Yes, it pinches me on this knife for some reason. I'm not sure why I didn't get that pinch on the drop point, but on this one, it's just a wee bit pinchy. I love the coated blade, the shark's foot, super functional. Ergos are fine. This is a great knife. This is a solid knife especially when you have different deployment methods and you can choke up. I think it is very solid. Yes, I think it is worth the price. No, the 80/20 slims are not worth the price for my book. I mean, in my book, from my perspective. But this is solid. Eventually, am I going to get a new clip? Maybe. Do I want to trick this guy out? I'm thinking about it. Definitely considering it. So let me know what you guys think of the 80/20.5 and, more importantly, the 80/20 Slim. See if you guys would pay that much for that knife. Overall, solid knife. Glad I got this version. I enjoyed the drop point, but I'm just enjoying this a little bit more. And of course, in pocket, this was fine. It's not a heavy knife. It doesn't take up a huge, space in my pocket. Easy to carry. I understand why people go crazy for these and why they love these knives. Hopefully we get to see these in better materials, of course, but I'm just not excited to see the price tag that comes along with those better materials. Overall, solid knife. I think that just about wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Knife Standards. I'll catch you later.